Welcome back to Rebirth Revolution. My name is Melissa Olson. Today, we're going to cover the topic of mistakes. The Creator knows that you are here to make mistakes. You were designed that way. If you were supposed to be perfect, you would have been designed to be perfect. One of the roadblocks to feeling love and compassion for ourselves and others is that we all make mistakes. These can feel like hurdles we need to climb over to reach a place where love and compassion seem appropriate. But mistakes are integral to our entire process of growth. We all have free will to make the choices that we do. And it's a law that in all things there must be opposition. Why? Because without at least two choices, you have no way to demonstrate your level of awareness. You must choose between light and dark, or it means nothing. The only measure of movement on your part is how you use your free will. The world around you provides your opposition, but it does so as your partner in growth. You are constantly choosing between light and dark, right and wrong, love and fear. If you hand over your decision to someone else, you get no credit and you get no growth. So darkness is always an option. The darkness is every bit as important as the light. There would be no point in having free will if not for the choice of light over dark. The darkness makes the light easier to see by providing contrast. It's not unforgivable to choose the darkness. We have all done it many times in our lives. But here's the thing about the darkness. If you choose it often enough, it no longer becomes a choice. You will become an instrument of the darkness. If you choose the darkness often enough, your mind will leave the world of light and choose to live in the dark corners. So what is a mistake? A mistake is a wrong action, faulty judgment, inadequate knowledge, inattention, an act caused by poor reasoning, carelessness, or insufficient knowledge. That's what the dictionaries tell us. It seems to me that you have to separate out the acts that began with bad intentions from those that come from not having sufficient information or the brain power to imagine what may come next. If you make a choice based on a lack of knowledge, you have not willingly chosen darkness. Sometimes the choices you make point in the wrong direction because they're related to earth experiences that you haven't yet fully grasped. Sometimes choices are made for all the right reasons, yet they yield unintended consequences. Sometimes the choices are a simple reflection of your spiritual awareness level. Every choice you make moves you either forward, backward, or down a side path. There are lessons to be learned in all three places. Many think that the journey down the side path is a mistake, but it holds lessons that you are never going to get if you just move from point A to point B. So many of the decisions we've made, we're seeking love, respect, or security. It's not wrong to want any of these. It's a very real part of being human. Instead of feeling shame about past choices, it is infinitely more useful to look at it, to figure out what you were hoping to fix or fill in your life when you made it. This, of course, applies to others as well. What do you think was driving their actions? It's important to distinguish between mistakes and patterns of behavior, whether this applies to you or others. Was the mistake you or someone else made just an unfortunate choice, or was it the indication of a deeper character flaw? To repeatedly choose the darkness is to demonstrate a low level of spiritual awareness. If this is you, you'd better pull back and do the work of figuring out what has made you turn your back on the light. If it is someone else, you need to reassess your relationship and focus on protecting yourself from their fallout. Then factor in, for both, the grade level of spiritual awareness at the point the choices were made. A person who is at a college level of spiritual awareness still wants love, respect, and security, but they will go about getting it in a very different fashion than someone who is at, say, a third grade level. They will meet those needs without causing harm to others. They will be accountable in their choices. They will be as fulfilled in giving love, respect, and security to others as they will be in receiving. People at higher levels will never ask for anything they are unwilling to give. People at lower levels will see these gifts as one-way entitlements. I watched someone being interviewed on the news yesterday who was telling multiple verifiable lies with no change to their physicality whatsoever. It amazed me because I think I felt more uncomfortable watching someone tell lies than the liar felt telling them. There was no twitching, no eye movements that would indicate that these were all lies. This was someone so well versed in lying that I suspect they could pass a lie detector test. People at low levels tell the lies they need to tell to make sense of the upside-down world they inhabit. It doesn't bother them in the least to do so. This is not a mistake. This is a serious character problem that illustrates what the lowest levels look like. If someone can lie to you without even flinching, you need to steer very clear of this person. They will do whatever it takes to get what they want. There are many people we see daily who are completely lost to the darkness. The worst thing they can have is power and control over the lives of others. Our time here is every bit as much about determining what isn't as it is about determining what is. Like maybe you loved someone who couldn't love you back. That is only a mistake if you stay in it and keep trying to change them. The lesson may have simply been that this wasn't the person for you. You had a lesson in accepting a reality that didn't align with your wishes. So passing that test was always going to be about accepting the truth and moving forward to find someone who was capable. Maybe the lesson was that this person not loving you was the mirror that showed how little you love yourself. In that case, passing the test would look like leaving the relationship and devoting yourself to figuring out why you don't love yourself and how you can grow into that. If you don't love yourself, you will only draw to you people who are also incapable of loving you. The lesson of one person not loving you may be a one-off, but a pattern of people not loving or respecting you is a reflection of your relationship with yourself. I know I've made almost all the mistakes one can make in my life, but now I look at them from a different vantage point. I look underneath the questionable choices. What was I looking for? Was my intent evil, or did I just not know another way to get what I felt I needed? The rebirth revolution will require that we all put ourselves under a loving microscope to truly try to understand and accept ourselves no matter what. We can't hold the past or the present against us and still create a shiny future. We need to make peace with ourselves. Clinging to mistakes will keep you hostage in a very small, very dark world. It's a self-destructive move that offers the excuse for not moving forward. If you've had mistakes in your past that are still weighing you down, realize that you need time and more experience to fully grasp the meaning of your choices. Once you're there, just sit with it. Try to determine what you were hoping the outcome would be and why you needed that. And then figure out what tools you acquired because of the choice. When we finally figure things out, we need to be happy about moving forward. We can't afford to cement ourselves or others in the place where the mistakes were made. It's a sign of real growth when you can look back on the things you got wrong and truly forgive yourself for what you did not see or understand when you made the choices you did. This is the compassion you are seeking. Own your mistakes, fix what you can, move forward with more clarity. Otherwise, you're stuck. If you're not willing to own your mistakes yet, at least start building a new record of not doing what you used to do. That will raise you to a higher level where you are more comfortable accepting responsibility for your choices. Everyone is doing what they think is right. It may not seem to be a mistake to them at all, but if you're going to do something to knowingly hurt others, you're doing the wrong thing. Some people make what we consider to be mistakes of all different sizes. That's part of the process. If you can see something that someone is doing wrong, it is entirely possible that you know that because you made the same exact mistake when you were at that same level. No one came here perfect. No one gets through the entire process without being wrong, sometimes in ways that border on the unthinkable. That's how the process works. People will generally act in accordance with their present level of spiritual awareness. Here's a twist. The outcome of their actions will only be seen as mistakes from those at higher levels. If you are a second grader in spiritual awareness and your parents are second graders, you will not have a problem with the abuse you endured or view your childhood as having been traumatic. The patterns in their behaviors will likely be repeated by you. Their actions would only seem mistaken and traumatic to those who are at higher levels. People defend their parents beating them because they are at the same level or lower, and those actions seem reasonable. It registers as abuse and is traumatic if it is out of alignment with your current awareness. What one person considers to be a mistake can be seen by another as innovation or excused as tradition. You are here to make mistakes, and so is everyone else. So don't act shocked when you feel the effect of someone else's mistake. Other people's mistakes are also a critical factor in your own growth pattern. Mistakes made by you or others shouldn't knock you off your path. They're just another way for you to gather the tools that you'll need down the road for the task you're here to do. They will teach you to be more aware, more discerning, more resilient. They teach you to see things from an angle that you might have previously missed. Religious organizations have used the very powerful emotion of shame to control people forever. Why have they been trying to convince us since the beginning of time that we need to feel ashamed of ourselves? Because if you can shame us, you can control us. The reality is that our Creator put us in these weak, flawed human bodies and gave us free will to make all the mistakes that go along with being human. The Creator also created the 7 deadly sins that tempt us continuously. If the Creator had desired for the system and everyone in it to be perfect and mistake-free, we would have been designed that way. But what would be the point? We came here to learn and grow. Why do they try to convince us that only they can absolve us of our wrongdoings? Knowing that the Creator is our oxygen, it is hugely abusive to pretend that they have the ability to cut off our supply based on their judgment alone. We're not doing that anymore in the revolution. We will be accountable to ourselves and for ourselves. We will honor our internal drive to get better and be better. Our Creator is not interested in controlling us. If that had been the objective, we wouldn't have been given free will. It's always other humans who feel they need to control us. But we're now up to the task of controlling ourselves. Being comfortable with making mistakes is one of the best indicators of future success. Mistakes are simply adjustments and refinements that you'll predictably encounter on the way to what you want to accomplish. You'll need to be capable of shutting out those who would jeer and shame you. They want to stop you in your tracks. Don't deny the mistake. Incorporate it into your strategy and forge ahead. You have many more mistakes to make, just like everyone else does. These will set up lessons and opportunities for growth and achieving higher levels. Don't dwell in the parts that didn't work for you, but also don't ignore what didn't work. We don't know how much time we have, so spend yours building on your strengths. You are a magnificent mess, and so is everyone else. Next week, we're going to talk about adjustments we need to make in our perceptions of life and death matters. Tell everyone you know to join us in the revolution by listening on Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, Podbean, Apple Podcasts, or on YouTube. If you follow and rate us, it will make it easier for others to find us. Let me know what you think. Let me know what questions you have. Email at rebirthrev@gmail.com. Until next week, be open, be aware, watch for clues, and boost the signal of anything positive you see on social media. Remember, you are loved exactly as much as every other person on the planet, not 1 ounce more or 1 ounce less. Have an interesting week.